Welcome, curious minds, to a very special deep dive into the heart of our communities. Today, we're pulling back the curtain, taking you behind the blotter with the Peshtigo Times. And remember, that's Peshtigo for anyone tuning in for the first time. We've got quite a stack of recent police blotter summaries right here. These are fresh from the Menominee Police Department, the Marinette Police Department, and the Menominee County Sheriff's Office. We're talking incidents from early July right into early August, a real snapshot. Our mission today, well, it's to sift through these daily reports. We want to pull out those, important nuggets of knowledge and insight.
Exactly. And these aren't just like dry lists of events. They're really snapshots of life. They show the rhythm, the realities of local law enforcement and the communities they serve. You might actually be surprised by some of the patterns that pop up. And, well, some of the stories are certainly unique.
Definitely some unique ones in here. So whether you're just catching up on local happenings or maybe you're insanely curious about what goes on after dark, and sometimes, even in broad daylight, let's unpack this. Let's get started on our deep dive. Okay, so we're going to kick things off by rolling back the calendar just a bit to early July. We're heading into the sprawling Menominee County first. The Sheriff's Office blotter gives us a really good glimpse into life, both on the roads and in the more rural areas.
Right. And what's fascinating right away is just the sheer variety of calls these sheriff's deputies respond to. It's really not just about major crimes. It's like everything that touches community life.
Absolutely. Let's look at July 10th. Over on Vega Road, deputies were dispatched to a possible domestic incident. Now, thankfully, this one turned out to be just a verbal argument.
Okay.
The parties were separated, and that was that. A good outcome.
Yeah, definitely. Also on July 10th, over on Main Street, we see a traffic stop. This one led to the arrest of a 44-year-old man from Wilson for having no operator's license. And that's, a common theme we'll probably see across these reports.
Yeah, that issue of licenses comes up a lot. Okay, moving to July 11th. Over on Samuel Street, deputies responded to a domestic disturbance. In this case, the 26-year-old female suspect had actually left the scene before they arrived. So the report was forwarded to the prosecutor's office for review.
And on that same day, July 11th, but on Frenchtown Road, a larceny complaint. Someone reported items stolen from their property. An investigation is ongoing there. Shows the property crime aspect, too.
Right. And another traffic stop on July 11th, this one on US 41. It led to a 24-year-old man from Marinette being arrested. He was driving with a suspended license and had no proof of insurance. The initial stop was for improper registration plates. Multiple things.
Yeah, often starts with one thing, leads to others. And here's one from July 11th that kind of tugs at the heartstrings a bit. A deputy was dispatched to River Drive for a dog bite. A neighbor's dog bit a child. Thankfully, the report says the skin wasn't broken.
Oh, good. Still scary for everyone involved, though.
Definitely. It just shows the range,
Okay, July 12th. On CR 348, a traffic stop results in a 19-year-old man from Stevenson being arrested. He was transporting open intoxicants and got cited for following too closely as well.
Then a more serious call also on July 12th over on M35. This involved an assault that had happened earlier. The suspect had left the scene. After they investigated, neither party wanted to pursue charges.
That happens sometimes. Complicated situations. And then something we all dread seeing, especially on our rural roads, a crash on July 12th. It was a one-vehicle crash on US 41. The vehicle hit a deer. 3 of the 4 occupants were injured by debris from the crash. They were taken to the hospital, thankfully, with non-life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, deer collisions are a real hazard around here. Okay, July 13th. Another one-vehicle crash reported, this time on G12, but the driver had left the scene. Hit and run, basically. Later, a 22-year-old man was arrested for failure to report the accident and also for not having security, meaning insurance, on his vehicle.
They caught up with him then.
Yeah.
Also on July 13th, another domestic disturbance call on US 41. Similar outcome here. Parties were separated and the report went to the prosecutor's office for review.
And the canine concerns continue. Also July 13th, River Road. A deputy was dispatched for a report of a dog at large, just, running loose. The owner was contacted and warned to keep their dog on their property.
Okay, July 14th. Here's that modern twist I mentioned earlier. A crash detection notification came in from West 38th Avenue. Like from a smartphone or watch. Deputies investigated. No crash found. Turns out a phone had just fallen off a vehicle. They actually contacted the owner, got the phone returned. How about that?
That's actually pretty good service. It shows how technology is changing calls. But July 14th also had a more serious side. A 79-year-old man from Menominee was arrested for resisting and obstructing a court order. This happened during what's called a civil standby on M35.
Right, a civil standby. That's when an officer's there just to keep the peace, maybe during property exchange.
Exactly. So for him to resist during that, well, it led to an arrest. He was taken to the Menominee County Jail.
Shows things can escalate unexpectedly. And we see that license issue again on July 14th. A 24-year-old man from Daggett, arrested during a traffic stop on US 41, started with improper registration plates, ended with arrest for no operator's license.
Yep, there it is again. Moving to July 15th, an unfortunate domestic assault report on Oakwood Road. Similar pattern. Subjects were separated, report sent to the prosecutor's office.
And then this one on July 15th, a 64-year-old man from Arlington, Texas, so a visitor. He was arrested for operating while intoxicated, or OWI. His vehicle was found in a ditch on Old US 2 and 41. He was transported to the Menominee County Jail. Vacation maybe didn't go as planned.
Sounds like it. OWI is a serious concern, visitor or local.
Okay, the last day for the county sheriff in this batch, July 16th. And it was memorable. Get this one. A larceny complaint on US 41. A son allegedly stole his father's laundry.
Laundry.
Yes, laundry. Apparently, the laundry was later returned, and the incident was closed.
Wow. Okay, you really can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Family disputes take many forms, and it didn't stop there on July 16th. Another unique larceny complaint. This was on Burnt Knoll Road. A caller reported overpaying a bill by 1 cent.
1 cent?
1 cent, and they were apparently refused a refund check for that cent. The incident was closed after the caller was advised they could just, pick up the penny in person.
Oh, my goodness. Still, it took up deputy time, right?
It did. And a third larceny on July 16th, this one on Z1 Road. A family member had taken an item without permission. Another family issue. The family member agreed to return it. Incident closed.
Family dynamics definitely keeping deputies busy out there.
Seems like it. And finally, for July 16th, a more standard call perhaps. A 28-year-old man from Stevenson was arrested for a probation violation. This happened at a business in the city of Stevenson. He was taken to the Menominee County Jail.
Okay, so that wraps up our look at the county sheriff's log for that week. Quite a mix. Now let's shift gears. We're moving into the city of Menominee. The police department there handles, a different kind of daily rhythm, more concentrated. We're looking at reports from July 24th through July 31st.
Right. And what often stands out in city reports is the concentration of incidents, often related to vehicles, specific blocks, maybe more neighbor disputes. It reflects that denser environment.
Let's see, July 24th. Officers started the week by investigating and towing 2 abandoned vehicles. These were from the 1000 block of 20th Street, a pretty standard city issue, abandoned cars.
Yep. Then on July 25th, a 57-year-old man was arrested. This was on a bench warrant from Menominee County Family Court. The arrest happened in the 1300 block of 5th Avenue.
And just to clarify, a bench warrant usually means someone missed a court date or something similar.
Exactly. They're pretty common reasons for arrests.
Also on July 25th, a 33-year-old woman was arrested. This was for unlawful use of a license plate on a vehicle, happened at the intersection of 13th Street and 8th Avenue. Another vehicle-related thing.
It is. And speaking of vehicles, July 26th brings up that issue of repeat offenders. A 51-year-old man was arrested for his third offense of operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Third offense, OWI.
Wow.
And along with that, driving with a suspended license and having expired registration plates. This was at 36th Avenue and 11th Street. That frequency of repeat OWI is a huge public safety challenge.
No kidding. Also on July 26th, a younger driver, a 17-year-old girl, she was cited for speeding at 10th Avenue and 11th Street.
And here's where things get particularly interesting regarding current laws. Also, July 26th, the 32-year-old woman was cited for consuming marijuana in a public place. This was near 10th Avenue and 20th Street.
Yeah, that highlights the ongoing adjustments to marijuana laws and public consumption rules.
It does.
On a lighter note, for July 26th, good news for animal lovers. Officers found a large black shepherd dog running loose near 22nd Street and 18th Avenue. They brought it to the Menominee County Animal Shelter. Hopefully it found its way home.
Let's hope so. Part of that community service aspect. Okay, July 27th, an 18-year-old man cited for an expired registration plate on his vehicle. That was at 16th Street and 38th Avenue. Minor infraction. But then...
Yeah, a much more serious incident also on July 27th. A 25-year-old man was arrested for felonious assault and also possession of an unregistered firearm. This occurred in the 3400 block of 10th Street.
That's significant. Felonious assault implies serious harm or threat. The firearm charge adds to it.
Definitely stands out.
And following that, still on July 27th, another arrest. A 28-year-old man for disorderly conduct and resisting and obstructing officers. This was at 25th Avenue and 14th Street. Resisting arrest, basically.
Shows the potential dangers officers face even in seemingly routine encounters. July 28th. This one sounds really frightening. A hit-and-run accident. It was investigated at 10th Street and 23rd Avenue. A person riding an e-bike was struck and injured. The driver fled.
Oh, that's terrible. E-bikes, pedestrians, they're so vulnerable in traffic.
Truly.
And interestingly, connecting back to that serious assault, remember the 3400 block of 10th Street?
Yes, from the day before.
Right. On July 28th, a 25-year-old man was arrested for violating the conditions of his bond release in that same 3400 block of 10th Street.
Huh. Could be related to the previous incident or just indicates ongoing issues in that specific spot.
Could be either. Also on July 28th, an assault was investigated. This was between a 33-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman in the 100 block of 6th Avenue.
And then linked to that, maybe?
Yeah.
A 33-year-old man was arrested for malicious damage to property in the same area.
Possibly connected, yeah.
Okay, July 29th. This one involves quite the list of charges for one person. A 59-year-old man arrested in the 1400 block of 8th Avenue. The charges include forging a license plate registration.
Right.
His second offense of operating a vehicle while intoxicated.
Second OWI.
Driving without a license, having open intoxicants in his vehicle, and having an expired registration plate.
Wow, that's quite the collection. Definitely a bad day for him and a danger on the road.
Absolutely.
July 30th. A 50-year-old man arrested for driving without an operator's license. This was at 15th Avenue and 21st Street. Again, that persistent license issue.
And over in the 3400 block of 12th Street on July 30th, a 39-year-old woman was arrested. She had a felony warrant out for her and was also charged with resisting and obstructing officers.
And just down the street, literally, in the 3500 block of 12th Street, also on July 30th, a 41-year-old woman was arrested on a misdemeanor warrant. So warrant arrests are a big part of daily police work, clearly.
Seems that way. And rounding out the Menominee City reports, July 31st, a 57-year-old man cited for speeding at 10th Street and 11th Avenue.
And proving that expired plates no age limit. An 80-year-old man was cited on July 31st for an expired registration plate on his vehicle. This is at 1st Street and 13th Avenue.
Guess you got to keep those tags up to date no matter what. And finally, for the 31st, a 30-year-old man was arrested. He had 2 bench warrants from the Menominee County Sheriff's Office. The arrest took place in the 1100 block of 16th Avenue.
Okay, so that covers the city of Menominee for that period. Lots of vehicle issues, warrants, and some more serious calls mixed in.
Definitely. Now, let's take our deep dive across the river into Wisconsin to the city of Marinette. The police department blotter here covers July 28th through August 3rd. And you'll notice maybe some different patterns emerging here, too.
Yeah, what really jumps out in the Marinette reports, at least in this batch, is the prevalence of traffic incidents, yes, but also a pretty notable number of drug-related offenses.
All right, let's look. July 28th starts with a traffic accident on Hall Avenue. 2 vehicles collided. The operators were Jasleen Fongbake and Stephen Adamson. Fongbake was cited for following too closely. Thankfully, no injuries reported.
Okay, July 29th. Another vehicle incident. On Stanton Street and Main Street, a vehicle driven by Jerome Nesbitt struck a traffic signal pole. Nesbitt was cited for making an improper right turn. Again, no injuries reported.
Also July 29th, another collision. Carla Schultz struck a legally parked vehicle. This belonged to Aiden Stokes, happened on Roosevelt Road. No injuries and no citations issued in that one.
And here's the start of those drug mentions on July 29th. Nicole F. Somerville was cited for possession of THC. This was on Marinette Avenue and Mary Street. THC being the active component in marijuana.
Right. In keeping with our recurring animal theme, an animal problem was reported on July 29th on McAllister Avenue. A female domestic medium hair cat was found, just a stray cat. She was taken to a local veterinary clinic. Hope she found her owner or a good home.
Me too. Okay, July 30th. On Blaine Street, Patrick M. Van Cleve was taken into custody. Charges were disorderly conduct and possession of marijuana.
And then still on July 30th, here's where it gets, as you said, more significant on the drug front. Philip Sousa was taken into custody on Roosevelt Road. Multiple charges here.
Yeah, quite a few. Possession of drug paraphernalia, second offense possession of marijuana, possession of methamphetamine, and resisting an officer.
Methamphetamine, that's a different level of concern, isn't it?
Absolutely. It indicates a more serious drug issue is present in the community. A significant arrest.
And still on July 30th, Santiago de Jesus was cited for possession of THC. This happened on Marinette Avenue and Cleveland Avenue.
And one more traffic accident for July 30th. This was on Roosevelt Road, between vehicles operated by Deanna Sharp and Geraldine Rye. No injuries, no citations.
Okay, July 31st looks like it was a particularly busy day for Marinette PD, especially regarding drugs and warrants.
It really was. First, Cornelius Moore was taken into custody on a warrant at Red Arrow Park. But in the same incident, Kimberly Brock was also taken into custody. Her charges included possession of methamphetamine, second offense possession of THC, possession of drug paraphernalia, and a child support warrant.
Wow, that's a complex situation wrapped up in one stop.
It suggests multiple ongoing issues for those individuals.
Also on July 31st, out on the highway, Highway 64 and Highway 180 intersection, Jesse Barnes was taken into custody. Charges: possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of marijuana, and carrying a concealed weapon without a permit.
And his companion, Jolene Barnes, was also taken into custody in the same incident for possession of marijuana.
So a traffic stop likely uncovered quite a bit there.
Seems that way. And still, on July 31st, another traffic accident on Hall Avenue. Vehicles involved were operated by William Van Sistine and Joshua Lauren. No injuries or citations reported.
And another THC citation on July 31st. Grace Alima, cited for possession of THC on Marinette Avenue and Mary Street.
And rounding out a very busy July 31st, Carrion C. Higgs was taken into custody. This was for a first offense of operating a vehicle while under the influence OWI again. Happened on Hall Avenue and Stevenson Street.
Okay, moving into August now. August 1st, James Fish was taken into custody on a probation violation on Old Peshtigo Road.
And a less common type of collision reported on August 1st. A bicycle, operated by Jared Thados, and a vehicle operated by Derek Miller collided on Hall Avenue. Possible injuries were reported in that one, but no citations were issued.
Hope everyone was okay there. Bicycles are definitely vulnerable. August 2nd, Caitlin Stone was taken into custody. Another first offense, OWI, operating while intoxicated. This was on Marinette Avenue.
And finally, August 3rd, a traffic accident involving vehicles operated by Logan Wilson and Sarah Jagielski. This occurred on Kearney Avenue. Wilson was cited for failing to yield the right-of-way from a stop sign. No injuries reported.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground there, across the county and both cities. Let's try to unpack this a bit. We went through Menominee County, the city of Menominee, the city of Marinette. What really stands out to you after hearing all those reports laid out?
Well, I think what's really striking is just the sheer volume, right? The volume of everyday incidents police respond to. And we definitely see those common threads emerging. Driving offenses are huge. OWI, suspended licenses, expired plates, they pop up constantly everywhere. Traffic accidents, too, from minor fender benders to more serious ones involving deer or injuries. And warrant arrests, that's clearly a regular part of the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw some maybe surprising things, too. The drug-related incidents, especially the mentions of methamphetamine in Marinette, that paints a picture of some serious ongoing challenges there. And then you have those truly unusual calls that show just how broad police work is. I mean, missing laundry, a 1-cent dispute, found phones, lost dogs. It runs the gamut.
It really does. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, you know, these blotters really highlight that multifaceted role of law enforcement. They aren't just chasing down major criminals. They're mediating disputes, domestic ones, neighbor ones. They're assisting at accident scenes, dealing with mental health crises, sometimes implicitly, handling minor code violations, retrieving pets. It really encourages us to think about the kind of daily pulse of our communities, what keeps things ticking over day to day.
So what does all this mean for you, our listener, hearing about all this? I think it means that our local police departments, the sheriff's office, they're truly on the front line of community life. They handle this incredibly vast spectrum of situations that affect real people every single day. You know, from the very serious, like felonious assault or meth possession, down to the, well, this silly, like the laundry incident. It's all part of what goes into keeping our Northeast Wisconsin communities functioning.
It's the reality behind the badge, isn't it? Far more varied than maybe most people realize.
Exactly. And that brings us to the end of this pretty revealing deep dive into the police blotters of Menominee and Marinette. All brought to you by Behind the Blotter with the Peshtigo Times.
We've explored everything from those bizarre larcenies and traffic issues to serious assaults and drug arrests. And hopefully we've shown the tireless and incredibly varied work of our local law enforcement.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this exploration. And maybe it raises an important question for you listening. You know, knowing what you do now from just these few weeks of reports, how do you see the daily life and the challenges in your community? And maybe think about what role you play or could play in fostering its safety and well-being.
That's a great thought to leave people with. We really hope this deep dive gave you some new insights, maybe a few aha moments about just how much goes into local policing. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.